into our sacrum. Allow yourselves to simply place a seed of your intention for the next 3 days. And as you place that seed inside of your womb space, in the space of your creative center, allow yourselves to simply feel that intention to begin to grow and blossom. Allow yourself to set this intention as big as you wish, as you desire. Allow yourself to go there. Allow yourself to take that step outside of what you already know, outside of the familiar. What, if anything, was possible right now? I want you to place it in that seed. I want you to seed. I want you to plant it inside of your womb space right now. And as you do, I want you to take deep breaths into your womb space. Allow the channels to begin to open and flow inside of your body as you connect with your body once again. And as you really place this seed inside of your womb space, I want you to begin to embody that. I want you to visualize that. What would it be like, feel like, smell like, taste like, sound like if you were already living that desired life that you want, living that relationship, having that partner? What does that look like right now? Inside of your womb space, I want you to feel it. I want you to take it. And I want you to see if there is any resistance. If there is any resistance placing this vision inside of your womb space. If there is any resistance coming up, allow yourself to simply accept it, invite it, love it. Allow yourself to simply befriend it. It's totally fine. It's totally okay, because it's not going to be like this forever. So just allow yourself to accept it for what it is right now. And as you do, just allow yourself to melt into this vision a little bit. Allow yourself to simply be playful with this vision. Allow yourself to turn up the colors of this vision right now. Allow yourself to simply make it a little bit more brighter. Allow yourself to turn up the volume of this vision so you can really hear what's going on in this reality where anything is possible. We're already free. We're already liberated. We're already past the people pleasing. We're already past the stages in your life where you are dating unavailable people. Allow yourself to really grasp that and hold it physically in your hands right now. I want you to lock it in. I want you to decree and declare to your bodies right now that this is what your body is going to remember. These are the feelings that your body is going to remember. And we are doing this because we are training the body to remember what it is that we want the body to do, what it is that we want the body to feel. Because when we align to the desired vision, when we align our thoughts, feelings, and actions to the desired vision, we become it right now. We have to embody them first. So allow yourself to open up your eyes and come back into the space as I admit more people in. We've got so many gorgeous women here. I'm so excited. Who is excited? Give me a yes, yes. Okay, beautiful, my loves. I'm just admitting everybody else. Beautiful. So to begin with, whoops, there we go. To begin with, let me introduce myself very quickly so you know who I am, you know what my background is, why am I qualified to teach you and to share my wisdom today, why I want to pass on my codes onto you, why I want you to expand, why I want this for you to work so badly. My name is Gabi Atribite, but many call me Golden Gabi. I work with highly driven women to help them come home to the depths of their soul. And it's not just to change how they think and navigate their relationships and their lives, but it is to change their biology so they can radiate this health, radiate this love, their femininity, their wisdom, their purpose. This is what really fires me up. This is what gets me up in the morning. I am here to untangle some hearts, my loves, my honeys. I am here to break my own generational curses and traumas, and I'm here to do the same for you. I'm here to reprogram these addictive, these toxic habits out of us so we can stop holding back from the love that we truly deserve. And I am so excited for this work with you guys today. I'm also the founder of Reclamation School. It's an online school for integrative healing that bridges mind, body, and energetics so women can break free from mental and emotional and physical barriers. I absolutely love my one-to-one coaching and mentorships. I have a new Priestess mentorship. I'm also a course creator. I run circles, ceremonies, retreats, and I do healing work as well. And so, you know, my story is really complex. Because I wasn't always like this. Before I stumbled upon my own feminine magnetism that literally pulls the right relationships. I'm talking about pulling the right connections, pulling in abundance, opportunities into my field. I actually stumbled upon something quite the opposite. I have never felt safe in my body for 15 years of my life. And for those 15 years of my life, I suffered with body insecurities. They developed into body dysmorphia, eating disorders, anxiety, and self-punishment. I ultimately drove myself to a burnout that left me completely physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually broken. Every single interaction and relationship that I had ever been in up until this point was me pleasing people to make sure they don't create a conflict or reject me, or worse, like abandon me. This led me to stay in a relationship for extra 2 years of my life. And I did things against my own will in that time. And at the very peak of being so broke and broken, I attracted an abusive narcissist that rinsed me of any drop of self-worth that I had left. And I didn't pursue my calling as a mind-body practitioner for ages because I just was so afraid of what my sister will think. Why am I telling you all of these things? Because none of these things was a coincidence, my loves. None of these things was a coincidence. All of these things were related to the trauma wounds that I carried, not just from my childhood. These are the generational wounds that we're talking about. And so the sooner we can understand that by healing these wounds that are causing us to attract the type of person into our life that triggers the wound, that is the mirror to the wound inside of us, which is everything that we're going to talk about today, and why we're in this wound portal for day one, which I'm so excited about, is because for the first time, think about this. You are the first person, probably the very first person in your lineage breaking these patterns that have kept your parents, your grandparents, and all the generations before them small. They've kept them stuck. They've kept them small. And so what you're doing is you're not just liberating yourself and your ancestors, you're liberating your children doing this work, my loves. And really, why am I so passionate about trauma healing is because after so many years of working with people, after so many years of coaching and starting from like a very shallow base of being in the health and wellness industry as a health professional, I have literally went all the way down from the very superficial layers of fitness and nutrition and mindset change and belief change and therapy that is about psychology, all the way down to really what is causing us, all of these templates that are causing us to navigate life in a way that is a sabotage. And so after going to specialists, being a nutritionist and a fitness coach, at the time when my body was covered in psoriasis, at the time where I could only eat egg whites and a bit of apple, at the time where everything in my life was crumbling around me, a healthy diet didn't save me. Going to the gym didn't save me. Going to get a job didn't save me. Telling myself I will stop dating assholes did not save me. Why am I telling you this? What saved me was healing the wounds that were causing me to create all of my life situations, all of them. Can I have a BTB, been there before? If you're feeling the same, if you've been there before, if at any point throughout this session today, if you feel that you've been there before, my loves, my sisters, I want you to say #BTB, because I want to know how many of us, I want everybody to see that it's not just one of us that has been in this situation. It's all of us working with people for so many years. We carry these same wounds, we carry the same templates, and I want us to begin to rise. I want us to begin to rise together and see that we're not alone. And so this is really why I'm able to help my clients transform their lives. This is why I run my business on my terms. This is why I have a gorgeous, supportive partner now who is on the same page as me, because I had to make the choice to either stay as a victim, and this is really what happens. We stay as a victim and we think that, hey, this is happening to me, so it'll probably be happening to me forever. And actually going from that victim mode and instead navigating through my wounds and changing my internal reality so that it can match my external world around me. This is the kind of work that we're doing here today, my loves. And so I am so passionate about coming home to your feminine magnetism, which is literally a magnet to attracting the right partnerships, the right relationship, the right job, the right opportunities into your life. Because in relationships are a dance. It's a dynamic. We are dynamic in the feminine and masculine energies. We exchange these energies. They intertwine. They have to help each other. They have to they work together. There is a polarity there. And this is why now we are coming back finally, after all the years of patriarchy, we are finally coming back home to our true femininity and actually realizing that the weakness in the feminine that we've been seeing is all false. We've been made to believe this nonsense is all BS. And so I want you to know that you can have it all. You can have it all of it. The relationship that you want, you can have the body that you want, you can have the health that you want. You just have to begin to trust. You have to begin to trust, not even believe, my loves. This is feminine magnetism. You need to begin to trust that it is possible for you, just like me, just like anybody else. And so I want you to right now get real serious, because we are here to change the trajectory of your life. We are here to change how you think from this moment on, how you think about yourself, the self-image that you have right now, the self-worth that you have right now. What do you think that you're worth right now? I want you to think so big, my love. I want you to think so big that it is scary. So what is it that you want? And I want you to write it in the comments. What do you want? Are you here to settle for someone who doesn't entirely light up your soul? Are you here to let someone, some consequences of your past define your future? I want to light up this fire inside of you, my loves. Are you here to prove that the inner critic inside of you was been lingering for years, that has been putting you down? You're ready to prove it right? Are you going to prove this inner critic right? Or are you here to experience the seat of your own power? Are you here to finally be heard? Are you here to finally be seen in your relationships? Are you here to live out your deepest visions with a man that steps up to that calling? That is the kind of energy that we're going for, my loves. Can I have a yes, yes? I want to see a yes, yes. I want to see a yes, yes. Where are all of my gorgeous comments? Yes, yes. Yes. I'm just reading all your comments and just like in awe. Yes. I want you to raise all of your arms up right now. And I want you to go, yes, 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 yes. I want this energy. I want you to get pumped. I want you to say yes. When we raise our arms up, we are in victory. We're saying yes to life. I want you to do this every fucking morning and say yes to life. Because when you really set this intention, when you set this intention and wake up, when you have your purpose, when you know your why, when you know why you're doing this, that's when life changes, because you're moving in the trajectory that you need to be moving. So what is it that you want to get out of this, my loves? Yes, 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 yes. So as humans, we are not programmed. We are not programmed to risk. We are not programmed to risk anything that could potentially sabotage our current situation right now. But I need to ask you this. I need you to change. I need you to change, because I know how many years you've been through this, because I've had hundreds, I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of people. And it's the same shit. We all come with the same shit. I need to ask you, what if the situation you are in is already miserable? What if the situation that you're in is miserable? So what are you going to lose? What are you going to lose? So I want you to ask yourself, what is my current situation costing me right now? Because I had to ask this myself when I was burnt out, when I was in the depths of just absolute darkness, when I had only suicidal thoughts in my life, where I was abused by a narcissist physically, emotionally, psychically, energetically, whatever you want to call it. I had to ask myself this, because that's what brought me out of my misery. The truth is, people who change do it when they are afraid the most. I want you to write this down. People who change do it when they are afraid the most. People who change their worst situations in their life do it when they're afraid the most. That is what makes them change. The fear and the uncertainty and the point, we get to a point where we're so sick of our own shit that we have to change. And every single person you look up to right now, every single person, every single coach that you look up to, every single person that is doing what you want to be doing right now, that you want to be like, that you want to be with, maybe, all of these people, they got to a point in your life right now that you are admiring because they were afraid and did it anyway. Can I have a yes, yes? Can I have a yes, yes? I want you to get so fucking excited about this, that this is going to change the trajectory of your life. Because the biggest, because the biggest emotion that people become a slave to is fear. I want you to note this down. I want your pen and papers, and I want you to note this down. The biggest emotion that people become a slave to is fear. This is why we never change. And this is why most of the time we actually come across beautiful, gorgeous souls and people. And we are in this mode of self-sabotage. It's not a mode of self-sabotage, my loves. I want you to forget that. Cross it out. Not a mode of self-sabotage, it's a mode of self-protection. You're protecting yourself because your heart's been so closed for so many years. It's been broken so many times. You've been misled and betrayed over and over and over again. We get to a point where we're so afraid to even let ourselves into that relationships. And this is where the feminine energy is shut off. Because the feminine energy needs to trust. And we're going to talk about this. But first one is you to be really, really honest with yourselves right now. And I want you to list 5 things in your notebooks right now. What have you missed out on letting fear take control in your relationships? You have to understand why you're doing this before we can move forwards. Because you can do a million of these workshops, a million of these masterclasses, and nothing can change. You can be like the most intelligent person in the world, have read 100 million books, and nothing has changed. So I want things to change for you so bad because I know where you've been. So list 5 things you have missed out on letting fear take control in your life, in your relationships. It can be in your life too. This applies to everything. This is why this stuff works. Again, honesty time, my loves. Be bold, be brave. What is the worst thing that will happen if you don't change? What is the worst thing that will happen if you don't implement anything that you learn over the next 3 days? What is the worst thing that will happen if you simply don't make that intention to change? What is the worst thing that will happen if you don't make any intention about your relationship and pray, just pray, blindly pray that things will work out for you one day? This is not how energetics works. This is not how human mind navigates. This is not the neuroscience, the psychology, the physiology of the human beings. We have to be systemic with how we approach our mind. There is a step-by-step process that we have to do with how we approach our energetics. This is when this shit works. So be honest with yourself again. What is the worst thing that will happen if you do change? I absolutely love this question because it really makes you realize that, can anybody answer this question for me? What is the worst thing that will happen if you do change? I'm loving the comments. What is the worst thing that will happen if you do change? Nothing, isn't it? Nothing is going to happen if we change. But we have to answer these questions because this is how our mind works. We have to work with our mind. We have to. So over the next 3 days together, I want you to see, where is fear stopping you from making the next step forwards? Fear can be so crippling, but I want you to understand that fear is the coordinates to where you need to be moving. Fear has been completely misunderstood because it is a natural response. It's a survival response inside of us. But honey, you know what? We don't live back in the old ages when we were running from tigers and lions anymore. The fear that we have is psychological, and we have to deal with it if we want to move forwards. So I want you to see, where is fear stopping you from making that next step forwards? Are you actually always seeing opportunities around you, but because you're so afraid to take that next step, you're not even taking on these opportunities? Are you afraid to invest your time and money and yourself into a program that is going to change your life, because it is a protection mechanism from actually getting the love that you desire? This was a big one for me. I was holding back from sharing my light, from sharing my wisdom, from stepping into my coaching business for many years. And I couldn't understand why. And I would always just postpone this and postpone that because I was unconsciously so afraid of being rejected, of being abandoned, of being misunderstood, of saying something wrong, of not being able to please others. This is how deep our psyche goes. So over the next 3 days, I want you to see, where is fear holding you back and stopping you from moving on to the next step? And whilst we're at it, whilst we are seeing what day one unfolds, we are going to enter the wound portal. I absolutely love wound portal, because we see wounds, we think trauma, like, like icky, but it's not. I absolutely love these words. This is where we thrive. This is where we change. This is where we alchemize. This is where we transmute energy and change. This is where we're going to open up our hearts. I'm going to teach you what are the wounds that are currently inside of us and why are they holding us back today. We're going to open up our hearts to safety so we can let more love into our life. And in day 2, we're going to claim the feminine. We're going to activate the divine feminine power within ourselves to heal the mother wounds, to heal the main wound that is holding you back from surrendering into your feminine energy fully. And in day 3, we're going to reconcile the masculine, because this is a 2 energy game, my loves. There's a lot of people doing the masculine work. There's a lot of people doing the feminine work. You have to do both. It's a 2-way process, and there are 2 energies inside of you. So we're going to forgive the masculine for letting us down, for abandoning us, for rejecting us, by healing the main core wound, which is our father wound. That's really shut our hearts from opening up to safe, healthy masculine energy. So let's get into the wound portal. My loves, you already are a magnet. Now, if you were there literally a few days ago when we did our masterclass on magnetic woman, you will already know that you are a magnet. This is what we've covered, and I'm going to just dive shortly deep into this so all of us can catch up with this juicy information. You are already a magnet, but so are your wounds. And so I'm going to explain to you how this works. Our current outcome in our lives is determined by our actions. Now, our actions are actually unconscious or subconscious until we consciously pay attention to them and begin to see where they come from and change them. But it would be really easy, right? If we all of a sudden could just go on a diet and stick to it for the rest of our lives, right? It would be really easy if we could just stop dating these men that create our lives toxic. It would be really easy for us to, if this was truth, right? If we could just change our habits and behaviors at a click of a finger. It's not like that, because there's layers underneath this, and this is how human transformation works. We first have to realize that our actions are determined by our thoughts, our stories, our narratives. Current thoughts, stories, and narratives that are, again, my loves, subconscious. Your subconscious mind is the 95% of your mind, which really determines your emotions, your values, your belief system. It determines your thoughts, narratives, everything. 9%, only 5% is your subconscious, is your conscious mind. Only 5% of your mind is conscious, which is what I'm doing right now with you. I'm thinking about what's going to be the next slide. I'm thinking about, how many people I have on this live call right now. This is my conscious mind. It's short-term memory, loves. Everything else is in the subconscious mind. So we've got actions that are determined by our thoughts. Our thoughts and narratives and stories are determined by our emotions. And our emotions, our deep core emotions that sit in our bodies. Bodies. I love body work. In our bodies, they live in our bodies, and they're caused by our belief system. That is the core belief system of who I am, our self-identity, self-image. And it is really all of the programs in the motherboard, in your hardwired motherboard, that are caused by the associations, the subconscious associations. We call them in neuroscience. Some people call them memories. it is also the traumatic experiences. And trauma is simply defined as whatever experience that's happened to you that's changed you internally, your internal processes, that when you come across that thing again, you have a trigger to it, you have a reaction to it, because the emotions of that trauma are unresolved in your body. That determines your belief system. Let me know if you understand this concept, and we'll go deeper into it anyway. So this is really where your inner child lives. So when you think about an onion, and like the very core of an onion, that's our inner child. Like the very core, that very, like the first layer of the onion, the sort of the a little bit there. That's our inner child. That is pure love. That is pure. It's a pure white canvas that we work on. This is the little us. And so we soak everything up in our lives, especially between ages 0 to 7. We soak everything up. And then we begin to create these layers around us. And that's when we begin to create the belief system around us. That's when we begin to understand and realize that I'm worthy only of this much. Then we begin to start narratives of, I am only lovable when. Then we begin to have narratives of, I must please others in order to receive attention, love, and affection, otherwise I will die. This is how our inner child learns things. And so the traumatic experiences that have happened to us are unresolved. And the inner child is crying. It is crying for attention. Oops. So at the end of the day, what I want you to understand is that we are a magnet already. We are attracting the stories, situations, and narratives that are a mirror to the initial subconscious programming in our lives right now. And so the actions only create more of what we already have, what we already are. They don't create what we want unless we take systemic action on healing, going back on the thoughts, going back on the emotions and the belief system, and back to the core initial incidents in our lives that has caused and shaped our reality, our world around us. And this is the mirror phenomena. The mirror phenomena basically states that everything in the universe is a mirror to us. Even the person, each and every little situation in your life. You can get so deep into this. Life is not happening at you, my loves. It is happening inside you. You are the captain of your ship. I want you to know this. And so when fear, each and every emotion that comes up, fear and grief and pain and shame and all of these emotions that are deep, dark emotions that we believe, I want you to simply forget that. Forget that narrative that these pain and shame and fear and all of these kind of like low negative emotions, as we label them, they're bad. Every single emotion is required in your life. Every single emotion is telling you something in your body. When it comes up, please do not repress it. This is vital information about how you truly deeply feel about something or someone or somewhere. That it really, it's the first anchor to your trauma that we need to understand. And so, hence why your relationships are the mirror to your subconscious stories right now. And so the biggest stories, I want you to think about this because we're going to do an exercise later. What are the biggest stories? I just read, you attract rubbish. What are the biggest stories? What are the deepest stories that you can really think about internally right now that are attracting the partners into your life? Some of the main things that I see, and when I work with people, is I will get hurt. I'm not good enough. I am alone. And this requires like really deep introspection. But even by seeing these right now, my loves, you have such strong, deep, powerful, feminine intuition. I don't have to activate inside of you. It's already there. You just need to trust. You need to trust whatever comes up through you today. What are the things that you really feel? Like, even when you look at this list, what do you feel drawn to? What narrative do you feel drawn to that actually might be the narrative that is holding you back right now? And I want you to know this powerful thing that nobody really speaks about is that the mind and the body and the human beings are programmed to self-heal. Huh? Amazing. Human beings are programmed to self-heal. This is why I don't like the word self-sabotage. The reason why you are experiencing these situations in your life right now, these traumatic experiences, the toxic experiences, the reason why you get things that you don't want in life is because your mind is actively trying to resolve the traumas of the past. This is why they keep bringing up the same situations over and over and over and over again. This is why they keep bringing up that unavailable partner into your life. This one's unavailable, and heck again, this is unavailable, and this is unavailable. What, is there something wrong with me? It's not that you're unavailable, my love. Is that you're simply carrying a wound inside of you that is making you attract the person who is unavailable. And we'll go deeper into this. And this is why when we really talk about the wounds, the wounds and feminine and masculine in relationships, it's because the wounds that we carry, they distort our connection to our masculine and feminine energy. And so, as I mentioned, the trauma which Gabor Mate defines really beautifully is a psychic wound that interferes with your ability to grow and develop, which essentially means that it is an experience that creates an emotion inside of our bodies that hasn't been fully processed, and that triggers these situations in your life over and over and over and over again until we actually face them. And so, like I mentioned before, relationship is a dance. Relationship is a dance between the masculine and the feminine energy. And we need to do an audit on our masculine and feminine energy and see what kind of wounds we carry within us that is causing us to attract the kind of masculine energy or whatever core energy of the opposite pole. Because all masculine and feminine energy is, you can call it an archetype. I like to say that masculine and feminine, they bypass our psyche. They are something that these are qualities about us, and we have a core energy within us. It can either be a masculine or feminine energy. But when we're out of alignment to that energy, this is where we begin to attract a partner that mimics what is already within us. So when trauma causes us to feel unsafe in the body, the moment we feel unsafe, we lean into the masculine energy. Why? Because it's a protection mechanism, and the masculine energy is protective. And because we've had thousands upon thousands and thousands of years of patriarchy that has taught us to use masculine energy. Everything is about masculine energy. Everything is about leading logical decisions. Everything is about competition, accomplishments, and problem solving. Just look at the society that we live in. It is collective, and it is something that is really hard to escape. We cannot escape this. The feminine is total opposite to this. It is the portal to the divine. We are the portal to the divine. Most of us here have the core feminine energy as our core energy, and we're not using this. We're not using this because the trauma that we have picked up in our childhood, the trauma that our inner child is currently holding onto right now, is making us feel unsafe inside of our own bodies. And what happens when you feel unsafe in your body? You are literally like a plane that lifts off and never gets down to fuel up. We are literally like a plane that is always ungrounded and is always kind of hovering above. This is literally what happens to us when we're not grounded in our own feminine essence. And so really the result of this is when our feminine energy is wounded, we will only attract that which is the closest thing to us. So we will be attracting somebody with also a similar or the opposite wound, something that is the polar opposite or the same. It can also be the same. You can attract someone with a rejection wound and also have the rejection wound within yourself. And so we see this in the masculine, the unavailable, the insecure, the easily triggered. They feel immense pressure. They are more angry. And when you get really good at this, and this requires intuitive work, this requires working with the body. You're kneading the dough of your own body. When you are kneading the dough, you're literally healing the emotions inside of you. And that causes us to get back into our feminine energy because we feel safer to be in our bodies, because we're healing these emotions inside of us, because we're kneading the dough. And what happens is we become more intuitive. And when we become more intuitive, we can suss out the wounded masculine. We're not attracted to it anymore because our polarity has changed. Our energy has shifted. We're no longer in our masculine. Because what happens when both woman and man compete for masculine energy? There's no polarity there. Nothing will happen. This is where the push-pull happens. This is where all the dramas happen. Can I have a yes? Yes. And so how do we suss out the wounded feminine inside of us? And I want you to know that we can have both wounded masculine energy and wounded feminine energy. But if we experience trauma in our life, chances are we will be in fight flight all the time, which causes us to simply use the masculine energy. And we get really good at using the masculine energy. We get so good, we neglect the feminine energy. And so the feminine magnetism is like total opposite. It's total opposite. It's when we become so acquainted with safety. We get so acquainted with surrender. We get so comfortable in our own bodies. We get so comfortable in our insecurities. We get so comfortable in trusting. No, I don't mean trust in just people. I mean trust in the divine. We are channels to the divine, my loves. And so it is really about activating the parts of ourselves that are spiritual, the spiritual goddess essence that radiates, that it is like there is a gravitational pull, like people literally get pulled into your vicinity. The wound is the portal to your breakthrough. I love that. Why? The wound is the portal to your breakthrough because, like I said, and what we've just gone through, your initial core wounds, the trauma that has happened, it's happened to everybody. This stuff has happened to each and every single one of us, and trauma comes on the spectrum. So you didn't have to be, your energy didn't have to be totally violated for you to experience trauma in your life. You may have simply been multiple times rejected by your dad. When your dad disapproved of who you are, He wanted you to be something else, somebody else. Maybe it was your mom. Maybe your mom projected her needs onto you, because maybe she wanted you to be a dancer or something, because she was never a dancer, so she projected that onto you. She projected control onto you. So I want you to really look at the 3 core wounds. There are 3 core wounds that really cause us to navigate from a place of insecurity, from a place of abandonment, from a place of rejection, from a place of betrayal. And I want you to think which one of these you feel a pull towards. So when you feel that, when you hear me speak, that having a rejection wound means that the child felt not accepted for who they are, so they had to be somebody else. So they had to adhere to something because of certain rules. And this happens a lot in religious families as well. Your abandonment. What about your abandonment wound? What do you feel? What comes through for you when you hear me speak, when I say the child felt dismissed and devalued and not acknowledged? Do you feel a pull towards that? Do you feel a pull towards betrayal, where the child's trust was violated? So at some point in your life, and this could be it could be recent as well. So this does not necessarily mean that everything happened in your childhood, but your childhood is the foundation for these core wounds that we carry, and we keep repeating them over and over again. And so if we don't heal them, we just keep getting betrayed, and we'll keep getting betrayed by the same people. I know this because I didn't know that I was carrying a betrayal wound from my mother. And recently I've done so much healing work on myself that it triggered something inside of me where I actually was able to clearly see that that I was betrayed by my own mom. And so I had to heal through that. But I want you to see these 3 different wounds. And if you want more, if you want to ask anything, or if you don't understand something, just let me know, okay? Can women not have masculine energy? We have both feminine energy and masculine. That's totally correct. We have both. There is a balance of both. So to establish how this wound affects your relationships right now, and I'm sure you've done this before many times, some of you may not, is your attachment style, so your relationship signature. By understanding your relationship signature, you will begin to notice and point out in the people that you attract where your attachment style shows up. So in the relationship signature of a tree, which is the secure, the stable within yourself, you've been brought up where your needs were met. You were able to comfortably express yourself. You were able to know your worth, feel good in your skin. You were supported by your parents. You weren't dismissed. You felt secure within yourself and your partners. And so when a secure attachment, when they come across challenges, especially in relationships, they are secure within themselves. So they don't run off and start acting weird and start blanking you, and they are secure. They will sit through with you, they'll sit down with you, and they'll go through things that are not going right. They will be more inclined to understand healthy relationships, and they will, of course, be more inclined to actually practice them. The shield or the avoider is the one that avoids emotional connection. So this one's a tricky one because they want to be loved and they will create relationships. And what tends to happen is that the cell, or the warrior, is the one that craves emotional connection, is attracted. So they're the polar opposites. So they're attract each other. And so the shield signature tends to have been brought up in an environment where there was a lack of intimacy shown with their caregivers. There was simply they had no example of what healthy intimacy and healthy emotional affection and attention looks like. So they're really good at getting on with their life. And they're really good at shutting you out of your life when they got what they wanted. Has anybody had a shield in their life, or a avoider or avoidant attachment, or dated and avoided attachment in their life? Because those are the emotionally unavailable. These are the guys that are these are the people that are most emotionally unavailable. But the truth is, we have qualities of all in us at the end of the day, but one is just basically we're just drawn to one than the other. So we've had more, for example, fear whilst growing up, which is what the warrior or the cell relationship signature had, where we lack self-esteem, we crave emotional intimacy, we're afraid of rejection, and it really creates the emotion, let's call the emotional attachment, the anxious attachment, as you call it, the warrior, the person who worries all the time, who has difficulty letting the person do their own thing, and actually letting themselves be in their own energy, doing their own thing on their own self. They don't have that like stability. These are the people that tend to be the most empathic. These are the people that when they were growing up, they had to, because the parents were kind of hot and cold, they were showing some emotional affection, and then sometimes they weren't. So the child was confused. So because the child was confused, the child began to project themselves. Usually what tends to happen in anxious attachment on the cell relationship signature, and that's why I call it the sail, because literally the wind takes the sail anywhere, the water takes the sail anywhere it goes. So the sail will go where you go. That's what the child will do. The child will not know their own identity good enough, well enough, because they weren't able to develop it, because they were always projecting, energetically projecting themselves into the emotions, thoughts, and feelings of their caregivers. This is what empaths are. This is what it is being empathic. And this is why we feel like all of the pain and all the shame and all of the worry and everything else of our partners, and we just want to make sure that they love us. We just want to make sure that we're basically inside of them, right? And so it creates a clash, because the cell always gets abandoned by the avoider or the shield, because the avoider always puts the shield up, and the cell's like, hey, what's going on? And so finally, the fearful avoider is the one that is most disorganized, and they will have emotional extremes, and they usually will tend to not search for love. They will try to search for love in addictive behaviors, in promiscuous behaviors, in sort of really disorganized ways. And so they won't even, if you get wrapped up with somebody, or you feel that you have the fearful avoider signature, that you may find that you've never had consistent love. You've never had long-term relationships. You've always been kind of in these like highs and lows, right? Which has created a lot of drama, toxicity, instability in your life. Because you had to experience, or the wind's relationship signature had to experience intense fear and inconsistency. And usually this comes from physical abuse. And you may have a bit of the sail and a bit of the wind. That's what I had. That's what I was going through in my life. Because I had been abused in my childhood, but I also had some love there. There was beautiful love. There were great relationships as well. But there were moments of really intense fear in my life that caused me, that rendered me to have anxiety when I grew up. That caused me to develop eating disorders when I grew up. And this really transcends relationships, my loves. If you can heal these wounds within you, you are sorted. You're sorted in your eating habits. You are sorted in your relationship with your food. You are sorted in your relationship with money. You are sorted in your relationships with romantic partners. This is how deep these things goes. If we understand why we navigate the way we do, we can begin to clear these things. So it's exercise time. I would like you to grab your notepad and pen, and I want you to look at the past 3 relationships. If you can do them romantic relationships, that will be perfect. If you haven't had romantic relationships, that's totally fine. I want you to look at the past 3 relationships you've had, and I want you to write down their core patterns and qualities that you remember that made you upset or triggered you in those relationships. What made you the most upset? Why did you break up over those relationships? What has been the tipping point for you? What were these core qualities of these people that was it for you, that really hurt you? There is no wrong answers, my love. So I want you to simply allow this to come through for you. Okay. There we go. I'm going to read some comments whilst you do that. Yeah. Anxious attachment falls under the sail. So it's the warrior. And I'm going to share with you these slides so you can go back. If you haven't done the exercise, totally fine. But I want you to get as much in now, because I know how these things go. We simply just don't find the time to go back onto the notes. But if you do get time to go back onto the notes, then you will have those notes with you. Yes. So Raj, my love, is somebody who would be the hot and cold, the inconsistent. And obviously it requires more information. It requires more of your awareness of how this person acts and behaves around you. And this is really where we begin to draw the line. So when we know our own triggers, even if we haven't healed them, we can actively begin to stop ourselves from getting involved in the relationships that we know are only going to hurt us further. And this is a big deal. You don't have to be healed to get into a healthy relationship. Hope you know this. I hope you know that you don't have to be healed. You don't have to just get on this thing like you're doing this work with me right now. You can attract a beautiful partnership right now where you can heal in that partnership. And that in itself is a belief that we need to make sure isn't part of your belief system. Yes, yes. I'm loving it, my loves. Okay. Have you looked at the past 3 relationships? Have you had enough time? Let me know. Okay. Now, on your page, I want you to split the page in half. On the next page, with your pen, split it in half, and I want you to simply write your mom and dad. And I want you can even do it on the same page if you've got a huge piece of paper. I want you to, again, do the same exact exercise for your mother and your father. And we won't be too long now. I'm just reading your beautiful comments. Gorgeous. For mum and dad. So the same exercise that you just done for the 3 past relationships that you've had. Now we need to take your mum and your dad, and I want you to split the page in half. And I want you to write down 5 core patterns. 5 core patterns for each that you remember that made you upset or triggered in those relationships. And that requires deep honesty with yourselves. And I want you to snap out of the child role that you play. Okay, we're not demonizing the parents, we're healing ourselves, honeys. So we have to snap out of we have to put ourselves out of the seat of the child in the family, and we simply have to look at these people as individuals. Perfect. Finally, grab your highlighters, or just grab your pen. And I want you to circle, okay, now that you have all of these in front of you, I want you to grab your highlighter and circle the patterns that are repeating in each person. So what do I mean by this? We have an example that we did earlier with a group, and you literally want to see, and this is funny because if you are repeating patterns in your life right now, it's going to be really, you're going to stand and realize that, oh, hey, wait a minute, these are the patterns that I'm seeing right now. So here you can see that James was inconsistent, Doug was inconsistent, Ben was inconsistent. They were all 3 of them unavailable. And there was obsession over all 3 of them, insecurities as well. And so the circle here, you can see that there is dad. So you can look at if you look at the month's list, judgmental, controlling, often not present, would threaten to beat me. So those don't really align. They're not reflective of the 3 relationships that we see above. What we see in the dad on the other side is didn't spend much time with me, didn't feel seen and loved, was never there during most important times of my life. So these are the core things that have come up. And so you can see straight away that there is a father wound that is causing this person to attract people that are inconsistent, unavailable, and obsessive. Obsessing over them, because there's an obsession of not being seen, of not being heard, of not being loved in this person's trauma wound. What about if there are both? You see patterns with your partners, your mother, and your father. You see patterns in both. Yes, that's totally normal and that's totally fine. So that means that that there is a direct relationship between your mother and your father that needs to be healed for the relationships as well. So some of the times, so for example, in this example, judging, controlling, often not present. So here what we can see is that because the mother was imposing and projecting control, this person will probably have grown up as a people pleaser. And so the people pleasing will probably also be part of their relationships, if that makes sense. So they probably will struggle to speak up. But of course, this is just like a very quick list of like allowing us to see like where are these things actually coming from and how do we need to work through them, because on days 2 and 3, tomorrow and the day after, we're actually going to be looking at the mother and the father wound separately. People pleasing is is a very common thing in many people. And usually that comes from judgmental parents that have imposed their regime onto you, because they simply are following a regime that their parents have imposed on them, or maybe there's been something else imposed. So it's totally normal, and we simply need to look at these wounds to heal them. So my loves, for the next 10 minutes, I want to guide you into going even deeper, and we're going to do an exercise that allows you to come home to safety. So you need to put your pens down now, my loves. You've done a really good job so far. And I want you to simply allow yourselves to find a comfortable seated position. As I'm going to guide you through a process, I like to call this the savvy process. It is safety, awareness, visit, and integration. So we establish safety. We become aware of the stories and emotions that are inside of our bodies. We visit these stories and we integrate them. So I want you to just close your eyes down and allow yourself to relax into the seat that you're in. I want you to say thank you to yourself for being present today with all of us, doing this work for yourself. Allow yourself to take a deep breath in. As you begin to track your breath all the way deep down into your throat, allowing yourself to fill the space in your throat with energy. As you take a deep breath in even deeper, allow yourself to fill the chest space, your heart space, with aliveness. As you relax even deeper into your body, allow yourself to fill the space even further down inside of your belly. As you fill the space even deeper with the next deep breath in that you take, all the way deep inside of your sacrum, inside of your womb space, inside of your hips. As you relax your body even deeper, your thighs relax. As you begin to relax even deeper, all you hear is my voice, nothing but my voice. As you allow your body to relax even deeper, your shoulders fall away from eyes to water as you begin to feel the tingling sensations running through your body. As you breathe even deeper, begin to concentrate on your heart space right now. With the next deep breath that you take, allow yourself to fill the space with air. And as you do, begin to walk down into your heart space. Begin to project yourself into your heart space as you see a path in front of you that's leading all the way deep down into your heart space, into the center of your heart. As you keep taking the steps, you begin to see a long staircase in front of you. Take the staircase with the next step that you take. Allow yourself to relax even more. As you take step 1, your body relaxes even deeper. You take step 2, your body relaxes even more. With each and every breath that you take, there is space in your body. Step 3, you are softening in your muscles. Step 5, you begin to feel how your legs are soft and you'll begin to float. Step 6, your body is totally relaxed. Now all you hear is my voice. Step 7, your muscles in your jaw are even more relaxed now. Step 8, Your seat is comfortable and holding your body. Step 9, you are totally safe. And step 10, you are inside your heart space. I want you to look around and I want you to simply observe what's in your heart space right now. Feel, sense, touch, whatever it is totally fine. Allow yourself without judgment, simply observe what you feel. If there's tension, if there's tightness, if there's freedom, if there's softness, if there's anything, whatever it is, allow yourself to be okay with it right now. And as you do, I'm going to ask you to project yourself into a safe location, into a place where you feel the most grounded, the most free, the most happy, whatever that is a gorgeous location that you will love being in right now. Allow yourself to project into that space right now, as all you feel is simple safety and fulfillment as you are in this space right now. And as you observe the place that you are, allow yourself to simply indulge in the pleasure of being in this safe space right now. And as you are in this safe space, allow yourself to just relax even deeper into your body. And I want you to place the safe space that you're in right now into your heart center. If at any point you don't feel safe, you can come back into this safe space. At any point, you can come back into the safe space, wherever you are in your journey today. And as you feel the safety of this space, the expansion, love, gratitude in this space, just allow yourself to soften more. And as you soften more, allow yourself to ask this question right now. What has been the underlying story in my relationships? That question, just allow yourself to see how your body reacts right now to this question. Allow yourself to scan your body for any areas of tightness, any areas of discomfort. What has been the underlying story in my relationships? And allow yourself to trust for the answer that comes through for you right now. And as you receive this information, allow yourself to ask the next question. Take me to the first experience where I felt these emotions, where I've heard these stories. Take me to the first ever experience, ever memory where I felt these emotions, where I've experienced these stories in my life. And whatever comes through for you right now, it is totally perfect. It is totally fine. Allow yourself to go deeper. And now allow yourself to observe where you're at. Allow yourself to observe the situation that you're at right now, who you're with, the person you're with. And as you observe this, allow yourself to see if you're in this memory as that character right now, in that memory, in that situation, in that scenario of that story. Are you the character? And if you are, I want you to jump out of that character as yourself. And I want you to hover over the situation as a third person, as a bird hovering over and seeing it over from a bird's eye view. I want you to play this out in front of you right now as if you had a remote control to click play and to stop the scene whenever you want to stop the scene. And as you begin to uncover the story that's been playing out for so many years, for all of your life, allow yourself to observe the emotions that are coming up in your body right now. And see how much you can breathe into those emotions inside of your body. As you allow yourself, without any judgment, without any prejudice, without any expectation, just allow yourself for those emotions to be. Allow yourself to just view the scene right now, right here, as somebody who's never seen this situation before in their life. Through completely new eyes, you're seeing this emotion, you're seeing this situation, you're seeing this story play out in your life. With that remote control, I want you to simply stop that scene for a moment. And as you stop this scene, I want you to ask yourself, is this current emotion part of me? Is this current emotion part of me? Is this current story part of me? Is this mine? I need you to ask yourself, is this mine right now? Whatever that answer is totally perfect. It is totally fine. Allow it to be. Allow it to be part of your body. As you breathe deeply into the emotions that you feel right now, simply tell your body that it is okay to feel these emotions. That these emotions are not going to kill you. You are not going to die if you feel these emotions. As you expand even more into your body, see how much more breath you can bring into these emotions right now. As you begin to bring this scenario, this vision, this memory that you see, I want you to simply take this memory with your hands. I want you to place it into your hands with that remote that you had. I want you just to hold it in front of you. And as you hold it in front of you, I want you to place it into your heart center. And I want you to love it. Love it like it was your child. Love it dearly, love it deeply. Find a place inside of your heart to love that memory right now. And as you go back to that memory, inside of your heart center, inside of your heart space, I want you to look at all of the characters in that scene. All of the characters are playing a role in telling you how you should feel, in changing your state of being. I want you to look at all of these characters right now. It may be your father, it could be your mother, school children, friends from school. It can be whatever it is, it's totally perfectly fine. And I want you to look beyond the situation. I want you to look beyond them. I want you to see what it is behind their motives. All right? See what is behind their experience right now. Why they're acting the way that they're acting with you. And from a place of your heart, from a place of deep compassion, and even if there's hurt, and even if there's resistance, you can simply say, I am willing to see this from a loving place. Even if you feel a lot of pain in the situation or towards the people for creating that situation, for creating that experience to you right now, all you need to say is, I am willing to approach this from a place of love. And in the next few moments, allow yourself to come back to the spaces where you felt the emotions inside of your body. Maybe you felt tightness in your throat. Maybe you felt something stuck in your belly. Maybe you felt tension in your hips, in your buttocks, in your head. And simply allow yourself to see how much you can expand into that right now. As you decree and declare that you open up deeply to the spaces of you that have been shut off up until this moment in time right now, as you decree and declare that you're ready to step into these emotions that you've closed off, as you're ready to declare that you're stepping into these emotions from the most place of love, from the most unconditional places of yourself, as you're ready to see them, not from a place of pain, but through new eyes. As you decree and declare, you are opening yourself up to more love. And I want you to come back into that safe space that you were in the beginning. Come back into your safe space of pleasure, happiness, gorgeous, gorgeous spaces and environment that you're in. Stillness, peace, softness, safety. And just allow yourself to see how much more the body is softened. How much more the body has opened. And you can remember this moment. You can remember these feelings right now inside of your body by simply declaring to your body to remember the safe space that you can always come back to, that you can always lock in, that you can always feel the feeling of spaciousness and expansion inside of your body right now. And with the next deep breath that you take in, allow yourself to fully come back into your body. As you place one palm on your chest and one palm on your sacral space, and you begin to create a connection. As you begin to feel the connection with your palms running all the way from your sacrum all the way up to your heart space. Allow this feeling to fill your throat. Allow this feeling to fill your head. Allow this feeling of peace and safety and love fill your sexual organs, your womb space, your ovaries, your vulva, your vagina, the entrance to your vagina, your hips, your thighs, your knees, each and every crevice of your knees, your legs, your heels. As you feel how your heels are beginning to get so heavy, they're being pulled towards the earth. You're being pulled towards the earth. As you connect back to earth, as you connect back to the ground. I'm going to count until 5. And in the next 5 counts, you're going to begin to come back into your body, come back into the space. And 5, you're beginning to come back into the space. You begin to move your body. 4, your body is beginning to wake up more rejuvenated than ever. You're feeling alive. 3, your body is beginning to come back into the space. You can hear the sounds around you. 2, you can hear the sounds outside of your room. 1, open your eyes. You are back in this space. You are rejuvenated and alive. My contact lenses always get a little bit fuzzy and I can't see anything. Beautiful, beautiful, my loves. How are we feeling? How are we feeling right now after this? I want to hear, and if anybody wants to speak up now through your mic, just simply unmute yourself, and I want you to share your experience of what has come up for you in this immersion that we just did. That was beautiful, Raw, beautiful. So let me know if anybody wants to share whatever has come up with you, for you. Yes. And you can unmute yourself. Forgiveness. Beautiful. I felt love, but also fell asleep. I love it. That's good. I realized I felt abandoned. It's really powerful. It is powerful to connect with the emotion. A lot of the times we don't recognize that we've had abandonment. When we begin to do the deep self-work, we might not even recognize that we hold anger towards our parents because it is something that is societally unacceptable, for example. So allowing yourself to connect to that abandoned space allows you to straight away bring more attention. It's like, where do you need attention from me right now? Attract people who abandon me. Totally. And that's what we're going to work through tomorrow. That's what we're going to work through tomorrow. Abandoned, but I realized I've been latched onto. If any of you, my loves, want to speak, I've got some raised hands here. Let me see. Where is the list? And I fall asleep too. That's totally good. That's totally fine. If you're falling asleep after meditation, after a process, that just simply means that your body needs rest, and that's good. Naomi, would you like to speak? We've got Mika and Naomi. So whoever first gets to the mic, unmics themselves, you can simply speak.
Hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, my love.
Okay. Well, for me, I mentioned that I felt abandoned, but I think this stems partly from um, my father. Although my father was there, you sometimes are looking for your father's figure in men. Um, so when a couple of relationships have not worked, I've kind of felt that abandonment. It's a deep feeling.
Mm.
And then it makes you feel quite sorrowful. So then I internalize this. I don't maybe cry at the time, but then upon reflection, I just think, goodness me, look at what happened there. With all this support, um, I seem to be giving more and more of myself, um, and making the individual rise to a higher level. But then I just feel really drained at the end. And I just think, no, I've been attracting individuals like this too often. Um, so no, I'm not going to be doing this to myself anymore.
For some reason, I can't hear you very well, my love, Alicia. Can't,
You hear?
can't seem to get my
Okay. I don't know
can't
which
seem to
part you
my.
heard.
For some reason, my speaker's not going to go up. But you've mentioned that you've been looking for a father figure in your relationships, right?
Yes. Yes.
That and that has been stemming from a wound of abandonment.
Yes. It
Yeah.
has.
And what have you discovered today?
I feel that what I've discovered today is that I'm just repeating the pattern, or rather, I seem to have attracted a couple of individuals who feed off the sort of motherly persona that I have, and then I might be then looking for a father figure,
Yeah.
and when that person has left, I just feel abandoned. I don't know how. This is
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah. So this is very interesting because you've previously been looking for guidance in your life, but it seems that so I'm going to ask you a question. Have you been during your childhood, did you ever have to be the parent? Did you have to parent your parents or parent your siblings?
Yes, I
Yes.
was a middle child, and as a middle child, I ended up looking after the younger ones
Yeah.
and the two older ones. And then, I wouldn't say of course, but it happened to me. And then when my parents became a lot older, I looked after my dad, who passed away. And then I did it again with my mum up until a couple of years ago. Uh, so yeah, and then I feel now as if there's no one for me.
You feel that is what? Sorry.
There is no one for me. No one for me.
There's no
There's
one for
nobody
you.
left for me. Yeah.
There's nobody
No
left for you. So
one. Anyway,
looking back
maybe
at your
tomorrow.
looking back at your previous relationships,
Yes.
what has been affirmed to you in your previous relationships? What has been
Nothing.
affirmed by the previous
Nothing.
relationships in your life?
I feel nothing of value. Nothing that I need.
Say it louder.
Nothing that I need. Nothing that I need. Not enough. Not enough. Did you hear
Nothing that
that? Not enough.
that you feel not enough,
No.
that you don't feel good enough.
No. I don't know
Okay.
if you can hear me properly.
So which made you believe that there is nobody out there for you. So right now, you are currently you are currently in a timeline. You have a potential possible infinite number of timelines that you could potentially be on right now, Alicia. But you're in a timeline where you're getting confirmation each and every single time in your life. And your mind is getting these confirmations each and every single time in your life that you're not good enough for these people, that you have to mother these people. And so these relationships end up not working and falling out. But the truth is, this is the reality, is that that's only one timeline. There is only one way, and there's only one path that you're taking right now, because you keep taking the same path over and over and over again because of that same one wound that you're carrying. But that requires you not just the wound healing, and this is what we cover in the School of Self-Reclamation. It is actually the belief. You have to work with the belief that there is nobody out you, but because that's not the truth. Is that the truth? Is that like the real truth? It's not, is it?
No, it shouldn't be.
Because if you look around, you can begin to look around for affirmation that, hey, look at when you look up to couples maybe that you follow or are friends that have beautiful relationships and marriages.
Yes.
Why do they have it? Then, what's the difference between you and those people? There's no difference. We're all human beings. And so your beliefs right now are causing you to hold back on the opportunities where the people are available.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello?
I can't hear anything.
I don't know what else to say. I just said thank you.
Say that again, my love.
I don't know what else to say.
Oh, you don't know what else to say.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So, in this case, so when we're healing, I want you to understand that healing is a process. So somebody said to me, I think a client of mine that when I started working with a beautiful client, she asked me, how long does the healing process take? And I laughed, because healing our traumas, reprogramming the mind can take ages. It can take 10 years, 8 years, 10 years, 20 years. It's a process, and the process never ends. You only get to the next step. And when you get to the next step, there is more that comes through. And then there's more. And it's a process that we always need to kind of like have a TLC. We have to have an eye on it. We have to keep an eye on this. And we have to keep doing the process. So once we get into the process, once we know the step-by-step process of trauma healing, once we know the step-by-step process of reprogramming the mind, once we know the step-by-step process of how to navigate the reality that we're in right now and to manifest from a place of the present moment, that is when we can simply do a TLC. We can do an audit. We do an audit once in a while. We're always doing the healing work. I'm doing the healing work every single day still, from the moment that I started, which was 10 years ago, to now.
Wow. That's a long time.
It's a very long time, my love. And that's what I think another take-home message is, that the sooner you start looking, instead of running away from what's been put away, boxed away in the Pandora box of secrets at the back of our mind, compartmentalized, a lot of it, that is when we can begin with compassion and non-judgment. That's when we begin, and no expectation. Like saying no expectation. We put so many expectations on relationships. We go out, and each and every single, it's an automatic response. Each and every person that we come across when we're dating, or just the opposite sex, the first thing automatically, naturally comes through is this person a potential mate? That is a simple, it's a natural response, it's an innate response inside of us.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the things that we have inside of our mind, inside of our in our life, are driven by these reptilian brain mechanisms, and they're driven by our simple innate responses, instincts that we have as instinctual beings, right? And so the healing never ends, my loves. You have to fall in love with the healing. You have to choose that. You have to be devoted to the path of healing, because that is you're doing the work. You're basically putting in the work. Just how you're
Yeah.
putting in the work in your business, right? If you don't put in the work in your business, it's not going to run by itself, right? I know this because I run my own business and and I know that it's all down to me, right? If I'm not showing up in my business, then I'm not, I'm not creating any programs, I'm not creating clients not coming in. So of course, that's stalling in the progress of my business. So it's the same way in your relationships. You have to understand that the person that you are attracting is a mirror of you. So I want you to look deep down, and we've done this in the masterclass previously last week. I've literally asked ladies, I said, ladies, list 20 things that you desire to bring in, and list 20 qualities in the man that you want to bring in, to attract into your life. And then I made them highlight the ones that they are themselves.
Yes.
And then we looked at them and said, okay, so the ones that are not, so the ones that we haven't highlighted, we have to work on ourselves. So you can't expect to have somebody who has even a financial mindset if you haven't gotten a financial mindset.
Exactly.
So if you want somebody to be sorted, yes. Sorry, Alicia, you were saying.
No, I said exactly. I agree with that. Sometimes you do. We can attract the person that we're actually working towards becoming ourselves, but I find it very difficult to focus on two things when I'm actually focusing on myself.
It's all about you, honey. It's all about you. It's nothing about, it's honestly, it's nothing about the other person.
I sound a bit self-centered.
Oh no, but it's you don't sound self-centered. It's all about you. It's all about the relationship that you hold with yourself, because we can only attract that which we are. That which we are, unfortunately. And it goes down, it goes so deep. And this is obviously just like a tiny fraction of what I've taught you today, a tiny fraction. But we have to go so much deeper to understanding and being able to point out in people these wounds. So then we can create a boundary, we can set values, and we can say, hey, is this what we're repeating? And if we're deep, we are so pulled, energetically pulled towards this person, then we can play it out in a way that we are self-aware, and we can put a break when we need to, if that makes sense. So even if we're with a person who carries the same wounds as us, we can still create a healthy relationship with that person. But both parties need to be willing to put in the work into themselves. So me and my partner, Ronnie, we are working on ourselves daily. We come together, we have relationship meetings, and we discuss the self-work that we do on ourselves and what has that brought up in us, and the trauma work that has brought up in us, because we have the same vision together. And if we know that we're working, and this is what I taught again previous week in our masterclass, we have been taught the battery model of relationships, where we feed off each other. So this is me, this is my partner, and we're literally feeding off each other all the time. And this is my garden, this is their garden. I don't water my garden, he doesn't water his garden, but we keep giving each other. And so there is no flow, there is no dynamic, there isn't anything that we're working towards. We're simply, this is where codependencies come from. This is where we don't even have our own needs, likes, dislikes, values. We don't know anything about ourselves, and we expect the other person do something for us. That's the old relationship model that we've societally learned. The mutual relationship model is when we've got our garden, their garden, and our mutual garden that we only get to when we've worked on our garden enough that we can give something into it, we can create something, that we can give something, which straight away creates flow, because we're all of a sudden, we're not expecting, we don't set any expectations of the other person, because we know within ourselves who we are. We know our values. We know our integrity. We know. And so everything is kind of like, I want you to stand strong on your 2 feet. I want you to stand strong in who you are, what your values in the relationship are. What is it that you're bringing in? You have to be crystal clear. You have to make a decision. So I'm going to leave it there, my loves, because we can go on for ages. But I would love for you to, if you're not on the Self-Reclamation Collective, then I'd love for you to become a part of it, which is just a Facebook group. But this is where all of the previous